What's up, everybody? I got a cool episode for you today. We're going to talk with my friend Cam Adair. He's going to talk to you how he got on not only one, but 2 TEDx stages. Have a listen.
You've probably heard, if you've been listening to this podcast, you may have heard us talking about the foundation in the past. We have an interview coming up with one of the founders, Andy Drish, coming up soon. But it's a program that talks people through building a SaaS company. And that's where we met. And I remember the year-end party. We were in the second class. Year-end party was
bringing up these memories
in Vegas. So I remember going to dinner with our good mutual friend Josh Isaac. And in that dinner, we both kind of randomly were like, you know what? In the next year or something like that, we're both going to do TED Talks. Mm-hmm. And so we committed to it and posted it on Facebook. And like, it seemed, I think it was just like seconds later or something, you posted up, you're like, yep, count me in too. Mm-hmm. And a very short while later, there you were. You were the first one. And I think the only one of us that actually did it.
We got to get you guys up there. I'm committed to, we had a commitment publicly on Facebook, which makes it extremely official, that we're going to do TEDx Talks. And I'm committed to it. How can I help? We must do this.
You can hold me accountable to it. But how did you first, find the stage? How did you find yourself on a TED Talk stage to begin with?
It's such a crazy story. There's so many elements to it. I mean, even being reminded of that year-end party at the foundation is so intense for me because that was such a difficult time of my life. And I remember all the pictures of me from that event, I'm like on my phone, like literally just staring at my phone like this. Because I was going through so much at the time and I was so socially anxious at that event that I just like, I had to be in the room, but it was almost like as if I was trying to be invisible. And I was going through a lot. And one of the things that happened with TEDx was at the time, I was going through so much that every time I closed my eyes, whether it was to go to sleep or in the shower, I would see all these images that were really heavy and really disempowering to me. Really actually just made me feel horrible. I was super depressed. And I came to this point where I realized I have to shift that experience in my life because I have to go to sleep every night. And if that's like the most painful moment of my day, then I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to avoid it. I remember I was like getting high and taking a bunch of melatonin just so I could like pass out immediately upon going to sleep. It wasn't healthy. And I realized I need to shift that image. And so what I did was I thought, what's a goal I have, right? The power of visualization. What's a goal I have? And the only goal I knew I wanted to have at the time was to speak at TEDx. I just thought it would be something I would do at some point in my life. So every day when I would go to sleep and when I'd go in the shower, I would instantly visualize myself speaking on stage, walking out on stage, getting to the red dot, speaking, and the after party. And I really thought a lot about and visualized the after party because I thought about like the feeling of how proud I would be of myself when I did that, celebrating with friends. So long story short, for 6 months, up until the date I actually spoke on stage, I had been visualizing that every day in the shower. Then we had that conversation. You guys posted that on Facebook. I committed to it. And like 2 months later, there was this workshop around giving a TEDx talk by Erin Weed from Evoso, which is evoso.com. She's amazing. We had to do this exercise. I showed up kind of thinking it was this, it'll be fun to just listen to someone speak about public speaking. It's like at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. I don't really wake up that early at the time. And I got to this workshop thinking I could just sit there and listen. And then within 5 minutes, Erin Weed, who is the mentor doing this workshop, was like, all right, we're going to pair up in partners and you guys are going to do this exercise together. And I was kind of feeling like, fuck that. I did not wake up this early to do an exercise. I came here to sit back and listen to like some public speaking advice. But anyways, in the short minute that we had to pair up with someone, we had to choose a topic for what our talk would be about. And the only idea I had at the time was around the gaming addiction stuff because I'd written this article that had a big response and it was this unique thing. So just to get through this exercise where we went through 10 different questions, what's your topic going to be? Who's it for? What feeling do you want to leave them with? What's something not obvious about it? What's like a startling fact? What's your personal truth? What's the universal truth? Really, what is this actually really about? Going through those questions, I began to kind of feel like, oh, wow, I actually have a lot of content on this one subject that could be really interesting. And at the end, my partner said, hey, dude, this is awesome. Let me know when you speak on stage. Like, I'd love to hear about it. And literally 2 months later, I was sending him an email saying, yo, dude, I'm speaking like on this date. It was really cool. But speaking on stage was just, I applied for it. So there was a TEDx Boulder application process. I applied for it. I had this idea at the time that there were maybe like 12 people who applied for it. And there were actually over 420 people. And 50 were chosen for interviews and 10 were ultimately chosen for the stage. And somehow I was one of them, this crazy, I was like 24-year-old blogger at the time, or 26, something like that. And everyone else had like done 10 years and a PhD, and, you know, it was like their legacy talk. And I was just this random blogger online who had an interesting story. And I spoke on stage. I had never spoken on stage before. And there were 2,300 people in the crowd in a sold out auditorium. It was totally crazy, but it's one of those moments where it's like, there's a song called The Point of No Return. I used to listen to that every time before I played hockey, because you just have to get to that point where it's like, you can be nervous, you can be anxious, you can be any of those things. But at the end of the day, you're walking out on that stage, go for it, right? Like, just go for it. And I worked really hard for 5 weeks before the talk. I was practicing every day. I was really rehearsing a lot, staring at a wall, like did practice runs in front of friends, all of it, because I wanted to do a good job. But recognizing that point of no return, that this was something that was going to happen, was really important for me to be able to take that action and be courageous.
You know, you talked about 400, or was it 400 people that applied to the TED Talk, 50 got interviewed, 10 got selected, you being one of them. What made the difference between your talk and all those other people who didn't make it?
Really good question. There's a number of different things I think play a role. The first is you have to show that there is traction. And if you can't show that there's traction, then you need to keep working hard and try to find that traction. And so I know with the gaming addiction talk specifically, the reason that, well, one of the big reasons it was chosen was because I had showed them the article I had written that had, I'm not sure how many at that time, but right now it has 1,600 comments. There are 1,000-word essay life story comments from kids as young as 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 50 plus and everything in between. And I remember Andrew Hyde, who's the organizer of TEDx, he said when he saw a blog article with that many comments, that really spoke to him and really made him feel like there was actually something here. So that's part of it. There was also a personal connection, which was one of the organizers. He had a nephew, I think, at the time that he was really struggling to help. And so it was something very timely and something that really spoke to him. The other element was I did a couple different things. The first was I looked up all the other talks on video games or video game addiction and made sure that mine was something unique. And I think in the application process, I even wrote, there are currently 5 or 6 other talks on video games or video game addiction on TEDx, and they all talk about this, 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 and this. And none of them are addressing this, which is actually a really important section that they're all missing, which is what my talk's about, right? And so I was also able to show them that, like, I had actually thought about it. I had enough of a personal story with data behind it, with actionable steps for it to be a very effective talk. And yeah, I think all those combinations really helped.
Thanks for listening, and if you want to connect with Cameron, just check out the description in this video. I put all of the links to where you can find him online right down there. Now, question for you. If you were to speak on the TEDx stage, what would you talk about? I'd love to hear about it. Just comment down below, and if you like this video, click the little like button, and if you want to subscribe and get more great videos like this, just click the good old subscribe button down there. Thanks for watching, and check out this next great video.